Hello everyone, my name is Emily, and for today we're going to talk about misgendering. So let's start from the beginning. First of all, what is misgendering? You may be asking yourself. Let me tell you. Okay, so misgendering. What misgender means, according to Google, is that to misgender is to refer to someone, especially a transgender person, using a word, especially a pronoun or form of address that does not correctly reflect the gender with which they identify. For instance, various media outlets have continued to misgender her. So basically what misgendering means is somebody mistaking you for the wrong gender. Like maybe it's on purpose, maybe it's an accident, but somebody using the wrong gender to talk about you or to you in person. It's not even always to trans people, like sometimes it's to people who are cis as well. For instance, let's say that someone is like a cis woman and she likes to dress very like tomboyish, right? Like because she's very butch. So sometimes because of that, people will misgender her and be like, oh look, she's a dude or whatever, because of just the way that she dresses. But that's a form of misgendering. However, maybe the person there won't really care because it's your expression and it's the clothes that you're wearing, and it's like, I guess to some people it doesn't really bother them, but to a group of people that definitely does bother is the transgender community. And the reason why it bothers the trans community is because the trans community is constantly trying to fit into society, basically, because society, some of us don't want to fit in, but the issue with being misgendered is for those who are trying to fit in. So it's trying to sometimes it's trying to portray a bunch of attributes that society sees according to a certain gender, just due to gender norms. Gender norms suck. But that's not where I was going with this. The thing is that when you're trying to fit into a certain category, sometimes you have to try to prove yourself, and that's where it becomes a huge stupid line that you have to cross. So you try to fit into these gender norms, right? And the thing is that since you're trying to fit into these gender norms, sometimes there are things that cause you to be misgendered because you're not quote unquote passable enough. And that's the issue. And that's the thing, everything that is considered passable is only because society has a certain view on what it means to be a perfect woman or man, for that instance. Okay, so let's just say there's a cis woman, right? And the cis woman has a very prominent and strong jawline / chin, and because of that, a lot of people see that as a masculine feature, and so they see her as less beautiful because of that. And it's really dumb, but that's how it is. And sometimes it's things like that that lead people to be like, oh, are you trans because you have a very strong jawline or chin? And it's like, why do you have to go around asking people if they're trans or not? That's none of your business. You shouldn't go up to people and ask them about these features of them, especially because people could be insecure about these certain features exactly because of that reason. So whether they're trans or not, it's things like that could also cause you to get misgendered. It's reasons like expression, like in my first example, or physical features, such as this example. But yeah, an issue that a lot of trans people deal with is misgendering. And misgendering sucks because you're constantly being reminded of something that you're trying to get rid of or forget, basically. It's a matter of disrespect, it's like, I'm telling you this so you can see me as I am. And it's a lot of work in order for you to see yourself as who you truly are at times. So it's being misgendered is being reminded that you're still not there. It's being reminded that it's a long way to go, and there are things about you that are out of your control. And the issue with that is that sometimes you're trying to feel confident in your skin, right? Like you're trying to feel good, and sometimes you do feel good, you feel fine, you feel cute or whatever, but then somebody misgenders you, and that's when it hurts, especially when they're friends, because it's like, oh great, like they see something that I am insecure about, and like now I'm gonna be thinking about why they misgendered me, like what caused it. You know, that's for the people who are trying to pass. But yeah, that's an issue. The situation with misgendering is that sometimes people do misgender you, but it's by accident, you know? So my advice is to, like I said, just tell the people that truly matter. Don't go around wasting your time, you know, telling everyone, because sometimes you get a lot of people who just won't care. If the person really wants to get to know you and really wants to be in your life, they'll ask you about your gender. They'll ask you, you know, etc. Your life, your experiences, etc. But, so the issue here is that sometimes you can go up to someone and ask them, like, hey, can you, like, this is my name, this is my gender, and these are my pronouns. And sometimes there are people who decide to, like, ignore all that information, and they're like, oh, you know what, well, I'm just gonna keep using the name that I remember or that I see on your, like, certificates or whatever, and I'm gonna keep referring to you as something that you're not, that you told me that you're not. And that's when it becomes disrespectful. The issue with misgendering is that, okay, you can't go around expecting everyone to gender you correctly at times. You know, some of us express ourselves differently, and, you know, society is it's a very strange place. So sometimes a lot of people will misgender you because of your expression or just the way you are. However, my advice is that if there is someone that you do care about, then tell them, this is my gender, these are my pronouns, and this is who I am, and I would prefer if you call me by this, or whatever. So obviously it's good to give people patience, as what I always say is that, it's not just my transition, it's also yours. So it's like we're both going through a transition, but, patience is only for, like, if you see that they're putting in the effort, if you know what I'm saying. If you tell someone, this is who I am and whatever, and the person still decides to not use what you just told them, then that is when it becomes disrespectful, because it's like, I'm literally asking you to respect me for who I am, and you're still not bothering to change anything. So it just hurts me, because it's like, if you tell someone, like, oh, this is, I don't feel comfortable using my name, I'd rather go by nickname or whatever, and somebody's just like, oh, well, I don't care, I'm gonna keep using this. Would you still talk to them? Probably not, because that means they don't respect you enough to actually listen to you. So that's the thing. When it comes to misgendering, you have to know, like, who your targets are, because sometimes you'll get misgendered in situations, but that's because society just doesn't know how to react to certain things. Like, you can't expect everyone to know how to react to everything, That's why you should only care about the people that truly matter. Now, another thing is dead names, also known as birth names. So, a dead name is it's literally your birth name. So it's a name that you may have been given at birth, but you no longer go by. So it's your dead name, What I would say about dead names is that I really wouldn't suggest using them. If somebody tells you, like, the name that they go by and stuff, I really suggest that if you get any chance of not using their dead name, that you don't use it. Honestly, like, you could talk about their past without using their dead name. You could, like, just talk about so many things. And, like, it's okay. Everyone feels different about it. But if the person says that it bothers them, then you don't have to, like, use it. You could always just replace the actual dead name with the words dead name. So it's like, how did you get your dead name? I don't know, I'm just trying to think of a way that your dead name would come into a conversation. But yeah, if you can avoid it, I suggest just avoiding it as much as possible if you can. But if it's necessary to the story you're telling, just make sure to ask the person that you're gonna talk about if they're there, so you can make sure that they are prepared for what's gonna come out of your mouth. And lastly, but not leastly, how to avoid misgendering. So to avoid misgendering, all you have to do is follow these 6 easy steps. No, I don't have no 6 simple steps, trust me. But yeah, to avoid misgendering, all you have to do is just ask them. If you're not sure of someone's gender, ask them. Ask them, hey, I was just curious, like, what pronouns do you go by, and like, what's your gender, or whatever, if you want to, you know. If you're not sure about someone's pronouns or their gender, always make sure to ask, you know. It doesn't hurt to ask. Just ask them, hey, what pronouns do you go by? And like, they'll tell you, and then you're like, okay, cool, I'll try to use this pronoun more. Or on the other hand, also, if you are the one being misgendered, always, you know, tell the person, like, hey, I don't appreciate that you're misgendering me. I would appreciate if you put in a little more effort. And as for the other person, the ally who's trying to, you know, be there for them and support them, ask them. Be making sure, like, hey, it doesn't bother you when I say these pronouns or whatever, right? Like, and is it okay if I say this gender, or does it bother you, or whatever? Like, just make sure you know them, because everyone's different. But if you want to avoid misgendering, one, for the ally, just make sure that you ask, hey, like, what pronouns do you go by? Is it okay if I use these pronouns? Or do you mind if I ask, like, do you mind if I ask your gender? Or, is there a name that you would prefer me call you, etc.? Those are questions that you would ask someone, especially after they've come out to you, you know? Not just randomly. And as for the other side, just tell people if you want someone to, like, gender you correctly, you have to come out to them. And then you have to tell them, like, if they keep doing it constantly, like keep misgendering you or keep using your dead name or whatever, just remind them to put a little bit more effort if they care about you. And if they slip up once or twice, just remind them if they don't catch it themselves, and be like, and then they'll be like, oh, okay, sorry, and they'll try to fix it if they really care. Just remember, if the person comes out to you, put the effort to make them feel comfortable, because otherwise, them coming out to you was pointless. If you truly care about someone, make sure to treat them right. Because nothing makes me feel better than someone gendering me correctly and using the right name and everything all the time. Okay, nothing makes me feel more comfortable than that. And that's how it feels for a trans person. But yeah, that's basically it, and I hope you guys enjoyed my video. And honestly, yeah, that's all I wanted to talk about: misgendering, dead names, pronames, etc. And pronouns. And okay, I will be back with more videos soon enough. So if you like my channel, you can feel free to subscribe or click the little bell right there so you don't miss any of my videos. And you can like my video if you liked it. And you can comment if you have anything to say, like any suggestions for my next video, any questions, anything. And yeah, just subscribe, like, comment, and I'll see you next time. Bye! Let me say one more thing about misgendering. If you show the effort, it's awesome. Like, it's amazing. So that's why, for those people who have shown the effort to me and everything, I love you, okay? And for those who don't really show it, it's like, you really want to be in my life? Try harder, please. For those that mess up once in a while, that's cool, alright? I give you a passing a passing little ticket. I'll let it slide. But for those of you who do it constantly and constantly and constantly, ouch. When you reach the point that you can just gender them correctly and use the right name, oof, amazing. Like, all the points, every single one. 1, 2, 3, Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw. I don't watch Harry Potter. I already said that. What was I missing? Slindor? I don't know if I'm gonna leave this in. Misgendering fucking sucks.